Man Up, a program dedicated to inspiring and helping men live lives of heroic virtue. And now, it's time to Man Up.
Welcome to Man Up on Iowa Catholic Radio. We are broadcasting on the Iowa Catholic Radio Network. I am Joe Stopulos, and today I am honored to be joined by an esteemed guest, Madam Attorney General Brenna Bird. Brenna Bird has been a staunch conservative Catholic in her time in the Attorney General's office, and is going to join me today to talk about some of these really important issues that are facing our state and our country today. So let's start in prayer. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. St. Michael, the Archangel, defend us in battle. Be our defense against the wickedness and the snares of the devil. May God rebuke him, we humbly pray, and do thou, O Prince of the heavenly host, by the power of God, thrust into hell Satan and all the evil spirits who prowl about the world seeking the ruin of souls. Amen. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. I have followed the career of Brenna Bird for some time. I've been tangentially involved in politics for a while here in Iowa. An incredible woman of faith. If you've been to any of she really puts herself out there, especially on the pro-life side and on the Catholic side. And it's very cool to see someone who is in this position. And if you follow Iowa politics, Tom Miller was our Attorney General for, I think he was the longest serving in the country of all time. And I think he even dates back to like before Branstad's first administration. So a really long time. And so for her to beat him was obviously that was impressive in and of itself. But then to do it in conjunction with Kim Reynolds, who both of these two are, Governor Reynolds is a staunch pro-life advocate, and to have her and Brenna on the same team has been wonderful to watch, especially with all the momentum we have with the overturning of Roe versus Wade. So there's a lot of issues that are facing our state today and our country today, and so I'm honored to have on the other side of the break Attorney General Brenna Bird. Stick around; we'll be right back.
Thank you to our business partner, the Des Moines Downtown Chamber of Commerce. The Downtown Chamber's 6th annual golf outing is Monday, July 1st at the Moncada Club, home of the Principal Charity Classic. Enjoy a day of fun, food, beverages, and 18 holes on the newly restored course with an 11 a.m. shotgun start. Foursomes and sponsorships are available. The 6th annual Downtown Chamber golf outing at the Moncada Golf Club, Monday, July 1st. More information and registration at dtchamber.com. Thank you again to the Downtown Chamber for their support of Iowa Catholic Radio.
Support for Iowa Catholic Radio comes from the Catholic Tuition Organization. Reduce or eliminate your Iowa income tax and instead give to the Catholic Tuition Organization and receive 75% Iowa tax credits. These tax credits are going fast, so reserve yours today and learn more about the Catholic Tuition Organization at ctoiowa.org. ctoiowa.org. The bottom line, it's for the kids and their futures.
Catholic Tuition Organization, a great investment in our kids.
Iowa Catholic Radio would like to thank our business partner, Dino Storage, 2725 2nd Avenue in Des Moines, offering monthly rentals, indoor climate-controlled storage, and package delivery to your unit. Learn more at dinostorage.com.
Support for Iowa Catholic Radio comes from Laser Home Services. Catholic owned and operated, Laser Home Services has been providing Central Iowa with electric, plumbing, heating, and cooling services since 2001. Learn more at laserhomeservices.com.
Support for programming comes from Golden Rule Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical, offering repairs, installations, and maintenance for the whole house, including heating and cooling systems and all things plumbing and electrical. Learn more at goldenrulephc.com.
Forge presents Catholic speaker and author Deacon Harold Burke Sivers Wednesday, June 26 in downtown Des Moines. The deacon will draw parallels between St. Joseph and the father's role in a family. Register at iowacatholicradio.com and tune in to Beacon of Truth weekdays on Iowa Catholic Radio.
My help comes from you. You're right here.
Welcome back to Man Up on Iowa Catholic Radio. I am honored today to be, I got to say it, to be joined by Madam Attorney General Brenna Bird. She did not like that I used the Madam title there.
No, I think we could just leave the Madam off. I'm a little more casual than that, that's for sure.
I like the title. So we are here today, and we're talking about a lot of very important issues to Iowans and to men and women alike. And, my cousin Ted, who's a good friend of yours, calls you the most conservative Catholic Attorney General in the country. Anything to say to that?
Well, that's nice of Ted.
That's very
Thank
nice
you.
of him. That's
He's
very
awesome.
nice of him.
Yeah.
So that gives our listeners a little bit of an idea into who you are. I've known you for some time now, and it's been fun to watch you rise to the ranks of politics and to become the person who finally won the AG seat for our side of the aisle.
Yeah.
The pro-life side of the aisle.
And we get to fight for what's right that way, too.
It's been, and then you wasted no time defending life and defending freedom for Iowans, and so it's been a lot of fun to watch. So let's do this. I know your Catholic faith is important to you. I have no idea if you were cradle Catholic, how you became Catholic, all these things. So let's start with you first, because obviously it plays a huge part into who you are and how you work. So let's start with that. Give me a little upbringing on your Christian faith and Catholic faith.
You bet. Well, and I think we all know that our faith informs our daily actions, or should, right? And it's something that I believe it permeates me. It permeates people of faith. It's not something that can be set aside like a hobby that people do one day a week or something they engage in. It's truly who we are. It's universal. And, I became a Catholic in a little bit of a different way. I think everybody has their own story if they weren't born into the church. And I was born and raised on a farm near Dexter, and our family homeschooled, went to evangelical Christian.
You were homeschooled?
Absolutely.
Oh, my kids have a chance. Look at
yes, they do. And Bob and I, we homeschool our son too. So, but born and raised there, a strong faith upbringing, evangelical Christian church. And I converted in 2005, but there were a lot of things that led up to that. So 2005, how old would I have been? Like maybe, I got to do the math here real quick. They don't teach math.
When did you graduate high school?
29 years. Okay, so you're approximately. So, so I was studying. I was dating somebody Catholic at the time, not my husband, but somebody else I was dating, and had been reading up on the Catholic faith to understand more about it. And I realized a lot of things that I thought I knew about the Catholic faith weren't true. And just really began to dig in. I even read everything that Martin Luther wrote just to see if he had any good points in there that were still valid today.
What a lawyer.
Yeah.
Jeez Louise.
Well, if he'd nail it to a door, it's probably worth looking at. So I did all that and just did a lot of reading. And then you'd think it would be a very intentional process, right? But it wasn't, because that's not how life works. So I was working in the U.S. Capitol then in Washington, D.C. For a member of Congress. And I was...
Who was it?
Steve King from Western Iowa. Yeah, I was his chief of staff. And
I did not know that.
Yeah, more fun facts. So, yeah. So I don't know for anybody who's been to the U.S. Capitol, but it's a massively huge building. And I was clear down in what they call the crypt, or kind of the basement of the Capitol, a couple levels down. It's a nice basement.
Beautiful. Actually sounds beautiful.
It is beautiful. It is beautiful. It's where some of the statues are. It is a beautiful place, doing some work there, because there's a lot of rooms deep under the Capitol. And I was in there doing some work, and then all of a sudden they sounded the evacuation alarms, which actually happens from time to time in a place like that. And then it was a little different than in the past. So the police officers who guard the Capitol were evacuating and abandoning their posts, saying, run, run, run. Because usually we just walked out because there were all kinds of fire alarms and things that happened. But they made it very clear everybody needed to really run hard and get out of the Capitol.
It's January 6th. I'm kidding. I had to make
not
a January
even close.
6th joke. Had to make a January 6th joke. Okay, keep going.
Yep. But we were, deep in there. The police officers are abandoning their posts, which they never do. And they're just like, run, run, run. Take off your shoes and run as fast as you can. Don't stop running until you're a long ways away, basically. And so if you can imagine, deep in the basement of the Capitol, when you're booking it out, there's all these tunnels and you got all these buildings. It's blocks. It really is underground. So I'm just like running and booking it out of there. And it's like a you're all going to die moment. That, there's a plane headed for the Capitol. It's going to explode. You need to get as far away from here as you can. Don't stop for anything, right? So everybody's running as fast as they can, evacuating the Capitol. And so that's actually quite a bit of time when you've got a long run through a basement. And so I realized the one thing that popped into my head as I'm running through the Capitol, running through the tunnels, running through the office buildings that connect, and everybody's jumping off the loading dock. Can't even all go out a door. So they're all jumping off loading docks. And the only thought that kind of went through my mind, you always wonder what you'll think if you think you're going to die, right, with a plane headed at the Capitol going to blow you up. But the thought I had in my mind was, I wish I would have been Catholic. And I thought, well, that's interesting.
Weird
yeah. So I'm one of these people, whenever you think you're going to die and you have a thought, think about that later if you didn't die, right? So, so I thought about it and I thought, well, I'm going to reach out to the church here on Capitol Hill and, see what the process is like. And so I reached out and talked with them and went through their RCIA process.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is wild.
Yeah, I know, right? Sometimes it takes something to get our attention.
That's one of the coolest Catholic stories I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
That's a very good story. Okay, I did not know that was the case.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So then you converted in D.C. then?
I did, yep.
Where'd you come into the church? At, did you go to the big church there?
So there's two different churches. There's one on the Senate side and one on the House side. Well, the Basilica, that's way far away.
Okay.
So I went to one that I thought I could regularly attend and would be, and so that's what I did. Okay. So I went to St. Joseph's on Capitol Hill. So,
wow, that is a very cool story.
Yeah.
And then you've been Catholic ever since.
You bet.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So go to All Saints and Stewart. So
you're up in Stewart, that's right. Stewart, that's right. Okay. All right. So obviously that's a great story to get you how you became Catholic, and obviously it's still a very important part of your life today. And so you've been involved in politics for a while. I've followed that part of it. And then the Attorney General piece comes up. And how many years have you been in now?
So I got elected in 2022, so I've been in for like a year and 5 months.
Yeah. And you've wasted no time making your voice heard through not just in Iowa, but all the attorney generals. And so, let's kind of transition then to some of the orders of the day. So, again, your Catholic faith is very important to you, and and it's great to watch you and the governor work together, by the way.
She's awesome.
She's spectacular. And again, one of those people where I've been involved in Iowa politics for a while. I don't think Branstad had any idea how good she was going to be when it comes to these things, because similar to yourself, she's so driven by her faith that she doesn't really care what other people think as long as she knows it's right. And I think that's what you do as well. And you can see that. So let's talk about I got about 4 things here to talk about that I think are really important hot button issues. So let's talk first about Title IX. Mm-hmm. So we've seen this of all I one time on a retreat wrote down, what are the things I will die for? Like, what are the things that I truly believe, no matter of anyone, if they're looking me straight in the eye and they firmly believe something else on the political spectrum, on the faith spectrum. And one of the things I wrote down was transitioning children is evil, and the transgender movement is evil. I'm getting passionate about it. That's just it's a horrible thing. So Title IX is a big deal because we have this going on right now. You see it all over the place on men playing in women's sports. And so talk to us about what's going on with that.
Well, we have a lot of different things on that front. And as a mom, it's something that's important to me, too. I mean, permanent gender-changing surgeries for kids and treatments, things will have a permanent effect. That's a very real concern. So we have fought in court to fight back against that and to uphold good state laws that are common sense. Should not have that happen.
What is the state law in Iowa today?
Well, the state law in Iowa today is that's not legal to do a permanent surgery or other treatment on a child.
Under the age of 18?
18,
okay.
Absolutely, yep.
Okay.
Yeah, so that is a big one. And then also some of the other Title IX issues. So the reason we had Title IX in the first place was supposed to be to protect women and girls in education, right? That was why it was there. It was so that women could be safe, so that girls could be safe, so that girls could play sports just like boys. So you'd have a girls' basketball team and a boys' basketball team. It gave women opportunities and safety, and it's been totally turned on its head, right? Mm-hmm. And Biden just decided to reinterpret. No law changed. He just decided to do it differently, which is illegal. That's why we're suing him. But putting all that on its head. So now boys who think they're a girl can go to a girl's locker room or bathroom, even in grade school, even in college, and play on their teams, which makes it really tough. We know that. So.
It's wild to me, going back a little bit, one step, and then we'll get a little deeper into it. We don't allow kids to buy cigarettes. And then they moved to 21. I just thought they moved to 21. I didn't even know that. That was a couple years ago. Like, that's news to me. So because it's an addictive thing, and we don't let them do tattoos under 18 because it's permanent. I tell a joke all the time about, how many people who got tattoos right when they were 18 don't regret those tattoos. Some of my friends enjoy their tattoos and they got their 18, but a lot of them are like, man, I was 18 years old, I shouldn't have gotten this. I'm like, now back it up 5 years and do sex reassignment surgery. Like, what are we doing here?
Right.
Like, your prefrontal cortex isn't formed until 25. If you're a 26-year-old and you want to change your gender, you should probably check into some sort of psychological ward first, but it's a free country. Do what you want. Under 18, this is I can't believe it's even an issue we're talking about. I literally, it's you want to see Satan working in his finest. It's to do this to young children.
Well, and you think about it, what are the things we're worried about as parents? I mean, we're careful about our kids' screen time, right? How much time are they spending playing any kind of game? Or we're very careful what they're watching, what they're exposed to. We have to protect kids and keep them safe. Yeah. And so that's what this law does. It just makes sure that kids in Iowa are kept safe.
Okay. Very good. We had a heartbeat bill. That's been that's basically your entire time as AG.
Right.
Has been right around this issue.
Oh, but that's a big one, though, because I think, back when I ran for Attorney General, that issue was always on my heart because our old Attorney General did not defend the heartbeat law. And I think it makes a big difference when your Attorney General won't go before your Iowa Supreme Court and defend your law. It sends the wrong message. And so we're defending that law. We have it fully briefed. The oral arguments are completed. And now we're just waiting for the Supreme Court to issue their opinion. So I just hope everybody, please, who's listening, in your prayers, pray that our heartbeat law would be upheld.
Yeah, so you've done incredible work on the pro-life issue, and I'm sure you won't stop now. You'll keep it going. This is one that I can't believe I'm saying because it's 2024, and I read about this in history books. But like, anti-Semitism is a thing. I didn't know that was real. I mean, literally, I remember reading about this in the 1940s, and 1930s, and 1920s. I'm like, oh man, that's ancient history. That's crazy. And now we're literally having to write laws about this. What in the world's going on? Yeah, well, I think it's something we all need to wake up because you're right. I was just like you. I never thought that could happen in this country, but we are seeing anti-Semitism popping up, and it's happening on college campuses and in other places. And I think we need to be very vigilant. They're saying awful things out loud. It's crazy.
Yeah, and you just think about what it would be like to live in Israel right now, where terrorists, you literally have to live in fear for your kids and your grandma and other family members that a terrorist would kidnap them because that's what happened, back in October of just last year. So we have to be vigilant about this, and I think it's really important that as Christians that we stand with Israel, that we take a very strong stand against anti-Semitism because we think it couldn't happen again. The only way it won't happen again is if we stand up and do what's right. Yeah.
So talk to us about what you guys are doing then. Obviously, that's more on a micro level of what we can do. What is your office trying to do?
Yeah, so we pulled together an anti-Semitism task force, and it has leaders in the Jewish community on it, law enforcement, folks from education, and folks from our office. And we're focusing on our piece of the problem to make sure that law enforcement and prosecutors have good training so they can recognize hate crimes, and also just to spread the word that we're not going to let this happen in Iowa.
I mean, it feels like hate crimes are pretty, it happens all the time. You see it, anytime there's this color and that color, they can just charge for a hate crime depending on, even if it was or was not. It's like, this feels like it's a pretty out there in the open. Anyway, I just look at this and I feel like I'm taking crazy pills sometimes that people can say these kinds of things.
Well, just think, how does a Jewish student feel when they're walking to class and they're being exposed to that? I don't think that's the America that I grew up in.
Yeah. Again, and there's some level of, and this is going to be the case for the next piece of this too, which is, as a free speech advocate, which I am, I believe that that's the more speech is better than less. At the same time, we have to educate people. I think people have been miseducated in this country, right? So I think there's been a lot of miseducation. And so it's incumbent upon us, Iowa Catholic Radio does this, and then us as parents, to correctly educate people on the issues, and then to tell our friends so that this kind of stuff doesn't happen, right? So, you read dystopian novels, and most of it's they've gotten rid of the education. The first thing they do, in 1984, is get rid of all the books. In Ray Bradbury's book, the first thing they do is get rid of all the books, and then people are either not educated, they're miseducated, and that's what's happening here. And so our ability to get in front of it and actually talk to people about the issues is really important. And so this next piece is right in line with that, which is the quote-unquote book banning. Okay, you talk about they are so good, the other side is so good at taking language and turning it around. It's insane. Obviously they've done it on abortion 1,000 times, where they've gone from safe, legal, and rare, and then women's choice, and it's reproductive health, whatever these horrible euphemisms are. Banned books is a term that started with books that were hate speech, essentially, that we, as a society, said we shouldn't have these, and these are actually evil books. And now they're taking the word banned books and using it for basically pornography and gender ideology stuff targeted at 7-year-olds.
Yeah.
And calling them banned books.
And these are books that are in a public school library that, we're all trying to, I have a 7-year-old, we're trying to get him picking out the books he wants to read. You can't just let your 7-year-old go into a public school library anymore because the legislature passed that law to protect kids, and, we are defending that in court. We're defending that before the 8th Circuit. And it basically just says that we're not going to have pornographic books in our kids' libraries and that's a standard, and they're fighting back against that.
Yeah, so can we go further than that? Because I mentioned this to you a little beforehand. So my family goes to the library with regularity. We literally, one of the reasons we moved where we moved is because it's right near the West Des Moines Library. It's a walking distance from it. And so my wife has taken kids there all the time. Bike rides. We basically don't enter the doors of there in the month of June. The kids enter there because they have these giant pride, whatever things right in front. And some of the books are horrible. So there's a book on there. I remember this from last year. I was trying to pull the picture up. It was something like "I'm Not a Girl" was the name of it, and it was a picture of a little boy who was about 3 or 4 years old looking in a mirror, and the mirror looking back at him was a girl looking back at him. It was literally targeting, and I've got a lot of little kids. It was targeting my 4 or 5-year-old. A book about transitioning gender was front and center at the West Des Moines Library to a 4 or 5-year-old, and it was at their eye height too. I'm like, what? In what world? Even though it's not pornographic, it is misinformation, and it's horrible. What are we doing here? And so, anyway, can we go further on this?
Well, yeah, and as a parent, you should know what kinds of materials your kids are being exposed to, right? Yeah. I mean, it just makes basic sense. And when we're looking at the school libraries, just keep in mind, these are books that are bought with taxpayer dollars in a public school. Yeah.
So I ended up writing a letter to the guy last year, and I didn't really love his response. And so the question is, what can we do as civilized human beings? Because as his response to me is, well, we do this for Christmas. Like, Christmas is a cultural thing, and it'd be weird if we didn't celebrate Christmas. I'm like, yeah, but like 80% of the country is Christian. Like, that makes sense that we would celebrate Christmas and have a huge Christmas display. That's not the case with this. Like, not even close to the case with this. It's not the preponderance of people are like looking forward to doing this. Yeah. And so, that's where I struggle, again, as a free speech advocate. What can we do to tell all of our libraries and all of these institutions? Like, I feel like the other side is really good at mobilizing and yelling and screaming and throwing temper tantrums. We're just not as good as that. We're much better at being civil. Even Trump was convicted or whatever a few weeks ago, and there weren't riots in the streets. There weren't all these things for a trial like that. People tend to, on our side of the aisle, but now we got families to take care of. We have things to do, and just go on. So, what are the things that we can do on a more grassroots level to weed this stuff out?
Yeah, well, I think one of the solutions, of course, we're going to defend our law, but think about what you can do. Well, we need more people to be running for library boards if they have libraries that are governed by a board. That engagement in the community is so important. And when I talk about the importance of faith in everything we do, it doesn't just mean the faith piece of it. It means that we need to bring that into everything we do. So we need to step up in our communities too and have our voices heard there on the library board.
Man, that sounds like a lot of work. Okay, but hopefully someone here listening can answer the call. I look at this, I feel like Ben Sass sometimes. So Ben Sass is one of my favorite people of all time. And back in 2016, he was asked why is he not running for president. He goes, I've got 3 young kids. I got all this stuff. Like, this is not the time for me to do that. That's how I feel right now. But hopefully, dear listener, you might be the person who, when you see this stuff, maybe you're at the point in your life where you can step up. Yeah. And you can do these things because we all have different callings, different lots in life. And we just talked about 4 major issues here, and obviously, Brenna, thank you to you. You have homeschooling, young kid, you get a lot of stuff going on. Yet you've answered the call to do what you're doing, and so I think there's examples out there of this, but I think it's incumbent upon us as devout Christians to be involved with these issues, because we can't just, Brenna's got it taken care of. Right?
Yeah, or just stay busy, because I think your family always does have to come first. Yeah. So don't get me wrong on that. I'm absolutely saying that is so important. But I was born and raised on a farm, and we farmed and did family stuff. So it is very possible to have your kids involved in this too. And so doing things as a family, finding the ways that you can do things together, is not only good for your community, but you're raising that future generation of leaders who will be be there to lead in our community after we're gone. Yeah.
Brenna Bird, thank you for joining me today on Man Up. Also, just thank you for the work you and the governor are doing for our state. I'm so proud of our state. You guys have made it's just been so much fun to watch everything you guys are doing, and again, makes me as an Iowan proud to see us leading on so many of these important issues.
Yeah, well, thank you, and just thank you for all your prayers for our families, ourselves, our staffs. We just appreciate when you lift us up in prayer. If people tell me that all the time, and it means a lot.
Yeah, awesome. We're going to head to a short break, and we'll be right back.
Support for Iowa Catholic Radio comes from Next Generation Realty, a Catholic and family-owned flat-fee brokerage serving Central Iowa since 1994. Next Generation Realty can handle every step of the process of buying or selling a home. Learn more at nextgenerationrealty.com.
Iowa Catholic Radio would like to thank our business partner, Pickerman Soup and Sandwiches, open Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Boxed lunches and catering platters are available for 6750 West Town Parkway in West Des Moines. PickermansDeli.com.
Support for programming provided by Modus Maryland, offering a wide selection of clothing for a baptism, first communion, quinceañera, wedding, or any special occasion, as well as accessories and jewelry. 4120 Southeast 14th Street in Des Moines and online modusmaryland.com.
Iowa Catholic Radio would like to thank our business partner, Edible Arrangements, for their support, offering fruit bouquets and gourmet dip chocolate treats. On the go or have it delivered for that special occasion, ediblearrangements.com.
Support for Iowa Catholic Radio comes from Westgate Dental, offering cosmetic, family, implant, and general dentistry. Located at 1073rd Street, Suite 1 in West Des Moines, just behind Dowling Catholic High School. Learn more at westgatedentalia.com.
From Martinsdale to West Des Moines and everywhere at iowacatholicradio.com or the Iowa Catholic Radio app. Listener-supported Iowa Catholic Radio, connecting listeners to Christ.
My help comes from you. You're right.
Welcome back to Man Up on Iowa Catholic Radio. My thanks to Attorney General Brenna Bird. That was an awesome guest to have. So first off, let's start right here. Pray for them. Pray for the Supreme Court for this heartbeat bill. As Brenna has told me that we know we're right. We know we're defending the law correctly. It's all in the hands of the Supreme Court and how they decide. She goes, we know what the law is. We know how it should be, how the judgment should go, but it's all officially, it's out of our hands, it's in there. So pray for them, pray for her staff. Again, a lot of issues that are facing us as Christians today. And it's a blessing to have someone like Brenna on the front lines. I just got to stop and pause. I did not know her conversion story. I assumed she was Catholic, cradle Catholic. Man, that was really cool that her last thought was, I should become Catholic. I think it's just a really neat story. And then for her to go through with it is, again, a testament to her. I joked with her offline a little bit that I thought that it was very Death of Ivan Ilyich, if you've ever read that book, which I should probably do an episode on that at some point. But, these reflections on death in the last moments of your life, and can have these really wake-up call moments. And for her, she got to have the wake-up call and then convert to the church. So that was really neat. So, again, my thanks to Brenna, and also just implore each of us to pray for our elected leaders, to pray for Brenna and her staff and their families. And then in the short order here, especially pray for this heartbeat bill in the state of Iowa. Thanks for joining me today on Man Up on Iowa Catholic Radio. I am Joe Stopulos. It's time to man up.
Man Up, inspiring men to live out their call to holiness.